Hey, Tom.
Hey, how's it going, Matty?
I'm good, man. Merry Christmas, buddy.
It is. It's hope everybody had a very wonderful holiday, friends and family, and got to hang out. And but I guess I'm gonna segue right into it. It means the end of the NFL regular season. It's come down to a extreme, just what the NFL wants with the divisional matchups at the end of the year. It comes down to winner take all in the division: Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions.
This was one of those games where if you looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year, you thought, hey, man, that could very well have playoff implications. Turns out that it couldn't be much bigger for this. You know the drill. Loser gets the number 6 seed in the NFC, be playing on the road the following week. Winner gets a week off, the number 2 seed.
Unless the number 1 seed, barring a miracle.
Right. Right,
But,
man. Right. Ooh, looked in the light. Does that motivate the football players? Do they care about seeding or whatever we're looking at as fans?
I think absolutely. I mean, every year it's a thing, rest or rust, or, you know, does that bye week serve something? And our 2010 campaign would say that maybe going on the road and not having a bye would serve as something, and then 2011 would further reinforce that point.
Number 1 seed,
And
losing
then,
their first game at home.
So, but I think all veterans would say, and still history would say, I mean, after a long season, if your guys can rest up, and if you're going to play good football, you have to, be ready to play. There should be no excuses having a week off. I mean, I'm a fan of A, that means you secured a home game, and B, your guys get some time to really heal up and everything. Good coaching and everything can turn it into a positive.
Hey, man, you're bringing up my next point here because I want to talk about, you know, what you said in terms of what the coaches do and our man Big Mac this particular week.
Yes.
He had a really funny line where he said he hopes he gets practice schedule coordinator of the year for this year. Like he's real proud of it.
Yeah.
His decision this week was to not practice on Christmas Day.
Contrary to
Jimmy Caldwell over in Detroit, he had them practicing on Christmas Day. Mike McCarthy had a couple of choice sound bites regarding this topic.
You know who else canceled the holiday? Even though I love him because of his photo opportunities, but Russia's Christmas is like January 7th, and Putin canceled Christmas for all the top Kremlin officials. But it was just really funny to read that because, I mean, that's Putin. I had to throw it in there.
Canceled Christmas?
Like all the people who were supposed to have time off, like top people, he said, we're not taking off, we have work to do.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
All right.
Look it
All
up.
right.
Google it. Google Putin canceling Christmas or whatever you want to. It's
All right.
it happens. But
so
it's
Detroit's coach.
I had to throw it in there because it's interesting to read, and like I said, he's fascinating as far as like a head of state who is operating a country, and you've seen the repercussions and everything. But we're gonna go back to football right now. Jim Caldwell.
Can we call him Jimmy Kremlin? Is that all right? So he had his players practicing on Christmas Day. Mike McCarthy, on the other hand, when asked about the question about whether or not he was going to have his players practice on Christmas, what did he refer to it as, Tommy?
No brainer.
No brainer. You don't have your players in there on Christmas Day. Elsewhere, saying, that's just not right in my opinion.
I've always believed in allocating certain 7 days a week to practice, and I believe time off. I believe that's important. Positive for this football team.
He does a lot of multiple things in terms of his practice schedule. He's proud of it. Much love, Big Mac. Hey, let's hope it pays off. I think it was the right move. They moved their stuff around. Interestingly enough, after the Buffalo game, that was the last padded practice of the year for the team. So it was like that was their week to fix things. And you know, we talked on Sunday immediately after the game about the Tampa Bay game, so we won't do as much recap of that.
Yeah.
If we're going to do any looking back here, I think we should look back at Week 3 when the Packers got it handed to them in Detroit. Few things are different from that game. That was a 19-7 win Detroit over the Packers, and score may have only told part of the story there. Packers got dominated that day.
Yeah. In a lot of ways.
What do you think? What do you think's different about the Detroit team and the Green Bay team since Week 3, Thomas?
It seems like a long time ago.
Sure does, man.
You know, just the matchups and everything on both sides of the ball. I mean, at that point, everybody was fretting quite a bit. I mean, you look back, we kind of took a peek at our old episode. I mean, there was a lot of,
humbling.
The passing game wasn't getting going, the running game wasn't getting going. Their defense was able to do a lot of things. But a lot of things have changed. I mean, our side of the ball, it's self-explanatory seeing who's developed. Jordy becoming the number 1 receiver. I mean, arguably, but,
Jordy, Eddie, A-Rod himself, all those guys starting the whole season slow, and then, obviously worked their way out of that.
But Detroit has continued to be stellar against the run. Fairley is out, who gave us a lot of trouble when we were playing, but they have continued to just stuff everything, so that, bulls into question what kind of matchups that we were doing. Eddie has become not only a rushing threat, but the 3-down back. He's able to catch
all 3 downs.
It was very important. That's why he's got more opportunities.
Do a lot of things this year we couldn't do last year.
Yeah. So it's the complexion of the game has completely changed. I'll say that. I mean, let alone the circumstance and the variables of who's home and what the weather's like and the implications of the game, because let's be real, a Week 3 game is in no way going to mean what a Week 17 game is going to have the importance of. And this has all the marbles and everything. And, you can get into Butler's and Rasik and everything. Maybe we'll talk about that after. But as far as what that matchup was and comparing it to this matchup, I mean, you could go, position group by position group and do the matchups. I mean, guys like Dix, who just were still kind of maybe,
He did have the interception in that game, but
yes.
he was. I mean, that was an outstanding play from him at that point. I mean, it still is, but he was. His average play was not where it is now.
If you look back at that Week 3 Packers team and compare it to any latter half game of this season, I mean, just see the kind of performance that you see on the field. But that's not to give away from the stellar defense of the Detroit Lions.
Right.
I say it like Mike because
we like him.
Sons of McCarthy.
Did you know? All right. I see. Also on that offense, man, there was a lot more Jarrett Boykin in that Week 3 game. Since all but benched. I mean, he's been worked in a little bit, but Devontae has really been your number 3 receiver, which he wasn't at the time. I know he's been up and down. Still believe the kid can play. Yep. So that'll help. That'll help having a Devontae who's a bit more involved.
Absolutely.
John Kuhn was like nowhere to be seen early this season, and that guy's been playing really well lately. So
you've been hearing the chant. He's been, I mean, that last game, some of those first downs and everything, it was it was crucial. It was clutch.
A lot of Packers fans at Raymond James.
And when you have that threat, when you're comfortable in that rhythm and just you can pass it, obviously you have A1 and A2 in Jordy and Cobb, and you have these other, role players and also, guys who are hungry and making plays. It's I don't know.
It's a better offense now than it was in Week 3 across the board. O-line has been playing money.
How about that? How about the Lions offense in Week 3 compared to what their complexion is now? I mean, early on, you're looking at Calvin Johnson being your number 1 receiver, hands down.
Right.
You're looking at, which has been the entire case this season, a solid offensive line, which has faltered, and Dominic Raiola, who we can get into, is out. Reggie Bush has been out the majority of the season to underperform, giving way to Joik Bell, who has, put 800 some yards together or something and been serviceable.
Yeah. And
Matthew Stafford pulling out a lot of close games. They've won a lot of close games they were behind and they came back. I mean, it's been thing, but they, what was it, Arizona then Patriots, lost on the road.
Back-to-back road losses, week, I think 11 and 12. Got their first win, their only, only road win of the last 2 months. This last Sunday at Chicago. I need some beer.
That is a stretch. I mean, that much, You talk about the game, and that has been a rag on the Packers. The same thing about on the road when you're facing a good defense. As the Cardinals and a Bill Belichick defense is, how are you performing on the road? And it's proved to be a struggle for them. And I mean, facing the big teams, and this is a big team with a lot on the stakes. And I don't know, but
well. There was a lot of stuff that hadn't come to fruition in Week 3. The Packers were still just messing around. They were kind of in the end stages of throwing in like the 4-3 fronts. Probably a little bit because of that game. Maybe, I don't know. I think they changed a lot because of that game. But one of the biggest things that's happened on defense since that game, not directly because of that game, but Clay Matthews being moved to inside linebacker. That's going to help the Packers on Reggie Bush and Joke Bell.
Yep. And Swanson, Travis Swanson, who's filling in for Dominic Raiola, because you're talking about not only the physical aspect of, pass, run, block, and all that and everything, but it is on the center to make a number of crucial things as far as calling out protection ahead of the game, because Raiola's been there. I believe it's been said that Stafford has never taken an NFL snap by anyone but Raiola.
That sounds about right.
It's just been a long time thing, and as far as comfort blanket and calling all those things out, and then just the exchange and timing and cadence and trust and audibles and hearing and understanding that and processing. If it gets loud and he doesn't hear something and he's just like, I hope this works out right, and if you're asking for anything for crowd noise to matter, it's when you have your backup center in his first NFL game as a rookie is when crowd noise is going to matter the most. And that's why home field advantage is enormous with the weather and with crowd noise against a rookie first game center.
It's certainly, I don't know if it's going to be a huge factor. I can't see this kid coming in and blowing the game necessarily, but it certainly doesn't help Detroit.
No. I'm going to make my call that it's going to be
You think it'll be a factor?
Yes.
Okay. Well, hey, man, think about, I thought Corey Linsley held his own first game of the year out in Seattle.
Absolutely.
It could be a pretty similar situation.
Yes.
But, again, it's just one of those things. It doesn't help. Kids never started an NFL game.
And how long did Linsley have with Rodgers before that week 1?
Well,
when did Trotter go out?
As far as, did he have preseason time?
How much, yeah.
I thought it was, at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever. Yeah. This is going to be one of those games, man. Any little advantage could help.
They're going to hit the middle. They're going to blitz the middle. Dom Capers going to hit the middle with Clay and everybody else. They're going to flood the middle.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the other differences, man. Devon House is not playing on Sunday. That sucks.
Yeah.
He did a very good job on Kelvin Johnson in Week 3, and that does not help our secondary for him not to be in there. He's one of the taller guys. That's why they put him on Megatron. And he is out with a shoulder injury. So I don't know, man. Those types of advantages, how do you feel it weighs out?
Yes. How do you commit your bodies? Are you going to, drop a bunch of guys back and give them safety help over Megatron, or are you going to try to blitz right away and get after him? Morgan Burnett is physical enough to go up against a Megatron and give help if you wanted to go that route. Otherwise, I still believe in the coverage of Shields or Tremont to, at least if you're going to go man most of the time, that you could at least, cause him some fits and jam him at the line, which is a big thing.
That's the thing, man. This game, the best, secondary work might actually come from up front for this, the push we get up front, get Mike Neal in there. The D-line played so well against a not great Tampa O-line. But I think that's a really encouraging game. Yes, totally, man. If you can play like that on the road, Tampa or whoever.
And the Lions line isn't, as a whole, regardless of what we talked about before, isn't one of the top performing offensive lines of the league. They've had their They've had their struggles, and what we've talked about, Matthew Stafford is a bit of a gunslinger. He's got some gunslinger in him. I mean,
he's a bit of a fucking butterball too, though. You know, I fucking watched that guy play, and he's just kind of a dude.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. He is. He's got some physical tools. Like, he's not a Favre, he's not a Cutler, but he's a physical tools guy that makes a lot of questionable decisions because he just kind of does, you know, back foot, sidearm fling it and just, you know, hopes to make it.
No, he'll make some of the throws. He might have the mentality, but I don't know if he's got like the talent to, you know, be a true like gunslinger. Like, you know, gunslinger is like
you gotta win
3/4 of the time you get him or something, whatever. Like I don't know. I was watching just highlights from Detroit's loss at Arizona, at New England, and Stafford looking very average. Looking at Megatron a lot and not always connecting. Man, Detroit has weapons though, don't they?
Oh yes, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah.
And Sue on the defensive line.
Yeah.
That's
DeAndre Levy
right there.
Leading the team in tackles, Wisconsin Badger. I mean, they still play very good defense. I mean, that's what kind of you do. Obviously, want to watch for. It's going to be a good game because you have an elite offense versus an elite defense, and you have a. I mean,
an unstoppable force against an immovable.
Well, I mean,
object.
how would you compare Packers defense versus Lions offense? I mean, can you put either into the truly elite category, but neither are average? You know,
both are. You think Packers
both are
above
very good?
Yeah.
You know, like obviously we have our falters. It's the same thing can be said for the Lions offense. That both sides have their falters. It's a lead on one side, but the other side is kind of two very good teams that are prone to mistakes.
Right.
You know?
Goodness, man, this is gonna be a matchup, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, man, I'll get on board with the players, the coaches saying they wouldn't want it any other way. Yeah. This is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Great regular season finale. There's
So
more
stoked.
regardless, but you know, in terms of Packers motivation, you know they want that week off. You got Sitton, Lang, Rodgers, dudes all having like the kind of injuries where like they want a little bit of time to just like hang.
Oh God, yeah.
Sit on the couch and watch the other guys beat each other up.
Icy hot like a ma.
But the one thing that I can't see, you know, really motivating the Packers is the Wisconsin streak. You know, the 23 years since the Lions have won a game here. I don't think the Packers are all like, we got to make it 24. I don't think that's like the way that you look at it. I think with a streak like that, you got to just ignore it, take it a game at a time. As cliche as that sounds, you know, that's what Mike McCarthy will tell you.
And what we talked about a little bit, the biggest motivating factor is kind of what we talked about earlier is they beat you. They won. It was at their place and they won. They beat you. I mean, they are up on the series.
Truth.
You are 0-1. They are 1-0.
Truth.
Are you going to let them sweep you, or are you going to even up the series and win the division?
Right. But I mean, shoot, man, this is just like the kind of game the Packers need. You know, if they get this one, and then they got like, you know, 2 weeks to prepare for their next game. Man, this is the kind of team, if the Packers can get a game plan, figure out what works on a good defense like this, take it on the road if they need to. I mean, you know, we'll talk about the different playoff scenarios as they arise, obviously. But, you know, this is a game where the Packers can prove to themselves that their great offense is greater than a great defense.
Yes.
They could do it.
Yep. Which is the discussion of the NFL right now. It's always been.
Yeah.
Offense or defense. And we
so many Super Bowl matchups where it's great offense versus great defense.
We get an amazing example this Sunday.
Right.
We'll be seeing you that Sunday.
Sure will.
Thanks for joining us. Check us out. Past shows, forward shows. We'll be live. We'll try to tell you when things are popping off. It's always just kind of trying to hang on and do it. But we appreciate all y'all watching and listening. So.
Doing it for you.
Packers fans.
Packers fans. True Packers fans, watch this show, Tom. We'll just fucking mix Brett Favre and teeth clicks or whatever.
Yeah. Bergstrom Wrangler since a dime. Bergstrom Wrangler since a dime.
Dick pics and teeth clicks
And
every
cock
week.
shots.
Every week on Live from Stadium Drive.
I am Tommy
Whoa,
Bird.
whoa, whoa!
I did,
What the fuck do you think the score is gonna be, Tommy?
Oh,
Are you shitting me, man? You can't get out of here without a prediction.
All right, it's I mean, we've talked enough score prediction against the high stakes matchups that we're talking about. 27-24 Packers.
32-24 Packers. Winning, undefeated at home this year. We got it. For Tommy Burns, I am Matty Day.
For Matty Day, I'm Tommy Burns.
And we are live from Stadium Drive.